I don't think it equates to success because I still feel successful. Just because I haven't made hundreds of millions of dollars off of have some fun today yet, it doesn't mean that I don't feel successful, because I do feel successful, because the thing I set out to do was to spread this message with the world.
Which you're doing.
I did. I've already done it.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Pickles and Pasta with Steph and Jay. Hey, Steph.
Hi, Jay.
I have to tell
you. From the other room.
From the whole, I feel you're so far away. For me, that's too far away, okay? I'm just throwing it out there. It's still way too far away. When we can figure out how to get it with enough cameras going and we can be sitting right next to each other, it's better for me. But I'll take it. At least I know when it's over, I can run over there and get a kiss and everything is back to good and the universe is perfect. Anyway, I guess we should jump right in, because I know that's the way we do things here on Pickles and Pasta, boys and girls. We jump right in. And this week's episode is what making it actually looks like up close. What the hell does that mean? So, we all have things we want to do in life. Like, I actually literally just saw a tiny little video of this 12-year-old kid with autism who was talking to some diplomat, and he was reading, and he was so smart and he was so cool, and he was talking about the diplomat said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up, which is a natural question we ask people. And he spoke about what he wanted to be, which was just incredible. So it's kind of hilarious that I saw that just as we're talking about this topic. It's all connected, kids. It's all connected. And what I mean by that is all that, we all have these ideas of what we want to be and what success looks like and making it, whatever that means. And then you get there and then you're like, what does this even mean? And I think it's an interesting topic, because I think people don't realize, we judge based on what we see other people do. We don't really know what happened behind the scenes. So I think it's interesting. I think it's the sort of thing that a lot of people kind of deal with, because they don't know what do I do now? I made it, and it feels better than it's supposed to, worse than it's supposed to. I don't know.
Or not anything at all.
Yeah, right. Is this it? Did I make it? Yeah. Or you got to check yourself. Wait, they tell me I made it. Did I make it? Is this, whatever. So I don't know. Anything comes to mind when I kind of just even bring up this topic, of maybe something that happened to you, or where you had that moment, or just, kind of in general around that?
Well, yeah. I have a lot of things to share about this topic, because pretty much my entire adult life has been looking down the road at what my snapshot is of what I visualize to be my end goal. And that keeps moving in life as we evolve and reach some of those milestones that we've been working so hard to get to. I mean, I could name so many things over the course of my life. I mean, starting out, I think it was, graduating Parsons and, getting that first job, and being looking at Andrew Marc when I was in college as the end all. I wanted a jacket by Andrew Marc. And then I graduate Parsons and I'm literally a designer at Andrew Marc. And I'm oh, so here I am, and this isn't where I want to be. And then, it's I want to just be a designer for myself and get my stuff into stores. And, 2 years later, things with my name on, not that far out of Parsons, are in some of the biggest stores, like ABC Carpet and Home. My stuff is in there. At the time, there are these fancy home stores, and my brand was carried there. But, as you evolve through life, those things become just things that you did, and they're not really sustainable for, okay, now I can just rest on my laurels. Like, no, and the first time I was on the cover of a magazine, that might have felt like, wow, now I've really arrived and life is going to be easy and great. And so it just goes on. And that was like 25 years ago.
Right.
So,
Right.
I feel like I have like done a lot of things that have gained recognition and that felt good in the moment and maybe like a month after. But, and I really haven't achieved like what I have achieved in life. Like, I'm very grateful for it. But if you do the comparison thing, it's nothing in the scope of life and what people achieve,
Well, that's a whole other conversation, right? Like that,
It is.
like the way we look at things and as important as something is, like in the grand scheme of life, is it a blip in the massive universe that we're in? So, but yeah, no, it's look, it's a fair point, right? And I think it's different probably for everybody. Like there's people who have really, really, really big egos, which is not you. And, they're always like, look at me and, all this sort of stuff. And that's not who you are. So your success is kind of different. I think it's measured differently. And, it's, you have achieved a lot. And to the people that know you, or even the people that know of you, let's say like there's the people that know you and there's people that know of you, right? And the people who know of you would look at you as like this incredibly successful rock star person that, walks on water and like all this sort of stuff. And then you're like, yeah, I'm in the studio and my hands are all messed up and I'm dirty and I'm whatever. And like, I got to do it. I still have to do the work. I have to do this sort of stuff. So it's kind of like, you get this place where like people would be like, oh, she's made it. Like, and you have achieved great success for sure. But in your mind, you're like, well, there's more. But there's also, I think, like the point of this is like, what does that feel like, right? Like if you, like, for example, use the Andrew Marc thing. That's an example. I can think of things as well. Like, I just want to get to this place. Like, I just want to get here. And when you get there, like, okay, I made it. And then you're like, what? Like, what? This is it? Like, so, and then you have to think like, okay, now what do I do? Right? Does it change what making it means to you? Or do you embrace it? And like, I think these are kind of, it's how we deal with that. I think is interesting.
I mean, I think the goalpost changes quite often. And as we evolve.
On you, or you change it?
I think I change it.
Okay.
I think I change it because I'm evolving. Everything is
Sure.
it's kind of like dipping my toes for 6 to 10 years into an area.
Well, you've said that, right? You have this 10-year thing.
I do.
Like this is historically with you. You have a 10-year thing.
It's kind of funny when you start to recognize the patterns. Like that's when you've lived a while. When I can look back and say, oh, for 10 years I did that, and then for 10 years I did that. So it's like, okay, that's the mark of a person who has been around and has really kind of gone after the things that turn me on as a creative person. Even just now in this space of being like from Have Some Fun Today through my fine art, that whole journey has been so interesting because when I started to Have Some Fun Today, I really didn't even think it was going to be a website. I thought it was going to be a little Etsy store, like seriously. But for some reason, we just started designing the website. And then from that point on, we were always continuously trying to make the website better. And the first time I saw a celebrity wearing Have Some Fun Today, I was just like blown away, because it was totally accidental. And then after that, it was one after the other. I was just thinking about it, last night as I was thinking about this topic. Like, how many amazing celebrities have worn Have Some Fun Today? You know, I'm sure my dad loved seeing that every time he was smiling and having over, you know, these things. And, you know, you would think, oh, wow, then she's really made it. But that's definitely not the case. Just
But did you
having
think you made it when you saw that? When you saw that, you're like, shit, I made it. Wow, I got
No,
this in this celebrity. You didn't. Okay.
no, I didn't. I mean, I thought it was really amazing and it made me feel good and it made me want to continue. But to me, making it would be like, I can't keep up with the orders. You know, we have people wanting to invest. Like, there would have needed to be, I think, a lot more monetary success for me to feel like I made it with that personally.
So
I
so
mean,
the money part would be the making it for you. Like if it crossed a certain financial threshold, if it did so, that to you would be more making it than just the accolade or the
yeah,
notoriety.
the term making it,
Okay.
that to me means when you have made it, means that you have achieved success, but the monetary success is at the equivalent of everything else.
Okay.
Does
That's,
that
I mean,
make
that's interesting.
sense?
Like, yeah, it makes sense. I wonder if I wonder how other people, I mean, I don't know, but I wonder how other people look at that. Or like some people may be like, well, success is, you know, making it is, I don't know, being known in my community or whatever. And I don't have a lot of money, but I don't have to stand in line at the store or what, you know, whatever. Like different people have different things that are making it to them, you know. I mean,
Well,
I think making it we think of in this public way, right? Making it is a public kind of thing, you know, when you think of the term, right? So notoriety, wealth, accolades, like that's, I think, when people think of like, oh, they made it. You know, Taylor Swift made it, right? Like she was this small town girl, you know, biggest, you know, musicians in the world right now. You know, she made it. Like she made it.
right. But let's say everybody loved her music, but she made no money from it. The fact that she is now a billionaire, there's like, you can't dispute that she has made it. Like, let's say she was just like a folk singer that was popular, but she never got the critical success. She's not selling out.
Financial success, not critical success.
Yes,
Financial success.
that's what I mean. Financial
Financial.
success.
Yeah.
I think that people don't necessarily respect someone who has achieved things without having the financial
Yeah,
part of
that's
it
interesting.
with it. That's
Yeah,
what I think.
it's
But
interesting.
I don't think it equates to success because I still feel successful. Just because I haven't made hundreds of millions of dollars off of
Yet.
Have Some Fun Today
Yet.
yet, it doesn't mean that I don't feel successful, because I do feel successful, because the thing I set out to do was to spread this message with the world.
Which you're doing.
I did. I've already done it. I could
Yeah.
stop tomorrow and I've
So that's
already spread thousands of people in this planet look
yeah,
at
that
this
you don't know,
message
that you don't
that
personally
I
know,
don't
right?
know. So that to me is success, but I don't think it equates making it. And you know,
Interesting.
even with
Interesting
even with
difference.
the art thing, you know, like I have gotten to know some artists that were in the Whitney Biennial and, you know, are with big galleries and have had a lot of exposure. And, you know, when you're in the Whitney and different galleries like that, you're selling your art for 5, sometimes 6 figures, sometimes more. So to me, looking at those artists that I'm comparing myself to, I haven't made it. But at the same time, I will have an experience where I will sell 5-figure paintings and, or just placed of 4 big paintings in public works at the GoggleWorks. And that's amazing. But it's not making it, you know, so there are milestones, but I think for people who are truly, you know, dedicated to their craft, they're always moving the goalposts for what they consider making. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I'm not sure I see it that same way, but I get what you're saying. I think, look, I think if you're like someone like yourself, and you're certainly very unique, but like someone who's an overachiever, someone who's always looking to be better than they were the day before, it doesn't matter what you achieve, you're going to want to do more. You know, if you were a director, you won an Oscar, you'd want to win a second Oscar. You know, you did $1 million at the box office, you want to do $10 million at the box office. You want to do 10 million, you're going to want to do 500 million. Like Spider-Man did this, I gotta do better than that. Like, you know, so there's, I think that's who you are, and it's one of the many beautiful things about you. But that's who you are. You're always looking. You're not going to be like, oh, okay, I made it. Good, putting my feet up. We're all good. Go get me my Mai Tai. Like, you're not that person, right? But that doesn't mean you didn't make it. And it's again that question of, I thought when I did this would happen, and now I'm like, I still have to put my socks on by myself. Like, it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Yeah.
I was just going to say, making it is not my goal in life.
Probably should have had that conversation before we decided to do this topic.
No. I think that's important to understand that.
I'm teasing. It's the same. You're same. We're on the same page. I don't know. I know what making it means, right? Like, I know what it means, and I certainly I've been around a lot of people and know people and friends. I mean, I have a friend that was the number one in the world at his craft, like the number one in the world, undisputed period, ranking, trophies, money, number one in the world. Anybody who followed that sport know exactly who he was. Period. Full stop. He made it. Okay. Congratulations.
And then what? What are you going to do after that when you're 35 years old and you've your whole life to live?
And I remember having a chat with him. I went to visit him. I mean,
are you talking about Andre, or who are you talking
about? I am definitely not talking about Andre.
Okay. You don't want to say who you're talking about?
No, I don't want to say who I'm talking about.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. But I'm definitely not talking about Andre, because Andre, we don't have enough time to talk about Andre and all that stuff. So, but I mean, God bless him. Really, God bless him. Very grateful for the time we got to spend together and all the wonderful things that came from that. Truly, I mean that sincerely, like, truly wonderful. It was just amazing on many, many, many levels, and I learned so much from him, and I think I helped him as well quite a bit over the years. But not talking about him at all. But I remember, related or unrelated to this, but I remember, like, not long after this guy reached this level, and I went to visit him. Like, I used to see him on the road all the time, but I went to visit him, like, where he lives, and we were friends. Like, we were actually friends. And I remember going to visit him, and just to catch up and to see him off tour and stuff like that and whatever. And we were talking about stuff, and he had now achieved, and he didn't come from, like, a lot of money. Like, I mean, he was okay, but he wasn't like this super wealthy guy and whatever. So there's, like, new things happening in his life. And we were talking about it, and he's like, you know, just because I can afford to pay $1,000 for a Big Mac, I'm not paying $1,000 for a Big Mac. Like, a Big Mac is $5, I'm paying $5. And I remember him saying that to me, because I was kind of like, you know, when you're around these types of people and you're around people that are famous or really successful, you always will hear somebody say, oh, well, they can afford it. Always. Like, you know, oh, they broke the vase, or the car was in an accident, or their house, like, well, they can afford it. Like, but to them, why? Why should they overpay? And so I'm saying this because there's a lot of stuff that comes with this making it. There's this perception that people have of you all of a sudden that they've made it. They don't need that anymore. I don't have to hold the door for them. I don't have to do, like, people start to change. It's not that you change as much. Sometimes you change, right? Sometimes the person changes, not you, not me, but sometimes the person changes. And we've all seen that too. Like, they get in a magazine, or they get a show, or they get a this or whatever, and they change, and you know it, and you feel it. And sometimes they come back, which is nice. And sometimes they just change forever, and it's not so nice. But there's the other part of it of like all of a sudden how people treat you, right? And it's a very different thing. I mean, I haven't had like super crazy stuff, but like I've been interviewed, I've been on HBO, I've been on TV, I was in Sports Illustrated. Like these are like pretty big things.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I was like, I didn't do anything. Like whatever. But people would look at me differently. People would talk to me differently. People would act around me differently. And I'm like, what? Like why? Like it's just such a weird thing. So I think there's all these things that go with it. I mean, and it makes sense when you think about it, like in the grand scheme of things, like why most people don't want that. You know, they don't want to be famous. They don't want that stuff. People think like, oh, but look how cool that is. And they're flying on these planes and they're going to these restaurants and look at the clothing that they're wearing. And like, I wish I could have that. And like, try it. Try it. Like, I mean, I don't know why we're talking about Taylor Swift today. Something's wrong with me. I have to go listen to some like crazy music after this. But, you know, I don't envy her. I don't envy anybody. So I'll start with that. I'm not an envious or jealous person. But like, I don't envy, like, you know, when she goes out, how she has to go out and how she has to kind of hide and she can't do this and she can't just go to the store. She can't just go do certain things. Everything is potentially in the news, on the papers, or whatever. Like, I don't know. And she, like we said earlier, she's made it, right? There's no question. There's no gray area about her making it. She has made it 100%. So I think there's a lot to that. Like, you know, you really don't know. Yeah. I mean, is there, of the things that you say that you've made it, like, is there like, you know, if you pull yourself back and you want to look at your life through a different lens, you're like, achieving that, I made it. Like forgetting about how you feel now, like I still have to do more. And I said, yes, that's fine. But like, can you look at something specifically? Like, you give me yours, I'll give you mine. Like, and I'm talking about like in that context, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like at that time, you're like, okay, well, if I really would just look back, forget about that it was me, I could look at that situation that I did, that happened. And I was like, yep, made it. Sorry to put you on the spot. Being a cover of a magazine, working at Andrew Marc, getting into ABC Goods. Like, is there like a one thing you can be like, hey, you know what? That one I made it. That's a check.
I know this is going to sound, you're not going to expect this. Looking at my daughters today.
There you go. That's it. Perfect. All right, here we go. Waterfall. It's you have the fan. No, but I that's okay, guys. That's the beauty of Steph right there. That's it. that just wraps. That's a wrap right there. I mean that just says it right all. Because you have achieved things, right? Being in ABC is not a joke. I mean, ABC today is not what ABC was. For anybody that lived in New York when ABC was ABC, like ABC was a big deal. And to get into ABC was a big deal. You know, as a college kid to work at Andrew Marc as a designer is a pretty big deal. A lot of kids come out of college and they're like, you know, getting coffee for a couple of years till they even get a chance to maybe separate the buttons and put them in the right drawer. So, you know, these are all big deals. Being on cover of magazines, stuff like that. Like these are all big deals, you know, but you took it in stride. You didn't let it get to you, and it's beautiful. And your driving force always was to be a great mom and to raise great kids. And you've most definitely achieved that. Like that's for sure. Any parent that just examines themselves or examines anything would look at what you've accomplished in that regard, in that specific regard. Yeah, your kids are great. Like they're great, and they're great. They happen to be great on their own. I mean, it's I've always said a kid, you know, everybody has their own DNA. I mean, they pop out of you, but they're them. They're their own. But as a parent, you mold and you guide and you support and you're there and you push and you push and you pull and you step aside when you don't want to sometimes. And your kids are, you know, you've made it by getting them to this wonderful place where they individually are on a great trajectory to really be that for their families and to have really wonderful, beautiful lives themselves. And I think that's that's tip in the hat that I'm not aware of, but that's big. It's a good one.
I mean, when you like separate like the successes, having all these A-list celebrities wear Have Some Fun Today, one after the other, wear them in commercials. I mean, Halle Berry, Mila Kunis, they both wore my garments in commercials. Like, you know, people would pay so much money to get an actress like
they chose to wear your things, right? Yeah.
So like, you could look at those things as, wow, like she made it. You know, these people wanted to wear this stuff, or the ABC thing, or the 5 magazine covers, some with my daughters, some not, some for art, some for Have Some Fun Today. You know, you look at all these micro accomplishments, and
they're not micro.
Someone could be like, not me, but someone else could be like, yeah, I really made it. But for me to know what I put into being a single mom, not to give, I mean, I can give their father credit too, because he's a great person in himself, and I'm sure that they received a lot of things from him. For sure. But for me, I know what I went through, pre-divorce, post-divorce, just navigating,
That's
hormones.
That's a hard thing to go through. It's a hard thing to go through. Yeah.
And to be able to today have the kind of conversations that I have with my 20-something-year-old daughters is nothing short of like so impressed with what's going on in their brains and how they articulate themselves on a very deeply spiritual level. That is the most important thing to me of my accomplishments thus far.
Yeah. Well, so far, there's more to come. But yeah, I think that's great. And I think, at the end of the day, that's way more important than, a gold or a platinum album or, being in a big gallery or anything like that. So yeah, I feel you. I think that's,
and honest, like the gallery thing, I think about that, initially that was really a goal for me. I have to say, it's really not an important goal for me.
It's going to happen because it's not, right?
I mean, if it does, great. If it doesn't, like, I don't feel like that is that important to me. I feel like making the work from an authentic, true place, that's important to me. And if something comes from that, those relationships with people or places that see the work as important or something they want to live with, that would be amazing too. And that's kind of more what is more interesting to me, just me being present to create.
Yeah. I mean, for you, and I've seen this, I know this, for you, it's that the work that you do gets to live in a place that it belongs. Like that's the success for you. If you get into a gallery, that's potentially part of the process, but just being in the gallery for the accolades is irrelevant to you. If getting in the gallery gets the person who that painting was somehow meant for, and that gallery made that connection just because it was in the gallery, the person saw it, they decide to buy it, it goes into their home, changes their life, that's the success for you. The gallery part is part of the process. The success for you, the making it for you, the enjoyment that you get when you sell a painting to someone or give a painting to someone and they put it somewhere in their home or in their office and it touches them, that's your making it in the art part of your life. And for me, I've seen that. I mean, I feel that. I see that. Am I tearing you up again?
No, I'm just thinking.
If you want me to.
Oh, I know you could. I'm really thinking that if I had to say a sentence that would sum up the idea of making it for me, it would be when I am going to be taking my last breath and I can look flashback to my whole life and know that I gave everything. Oh my gosh. From my heart, and I just did it for that reason. That's going to be like, well, I just did everything I wanted to do.
Well,
and I did it with my own truth.
Well, you're living that and breathing that every day, and you have a shit ton more time before you're going to get to that place. So we're going to move past this part of that conversation. But no, I feel you. I mean, that is that's how you carry yourself every day. Like, that's the thing. You're not, as much as you're on social media, you get a lot of likes, people follow you, they comment, it's nice, they say nice things, but you're living and breathing every day and doing things, with purpose and with value. And it's not about what the average person would call making it. Like, that's not what you're it's not what you're striving for. You're striving for something much deeper, much more meaningful, much more long lasting. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm striving towards my own truth.
Well, you're living your own truth. And I think that's, as long as you keep doing that every day, I think it just keeps going. Like, so yeah, I think listen, I think that's great. I don't think there's anything I can kind of throw in that I've accomplished as making it that's going to touch anything that you have mentioned here.
No, but like, cool. I think wait, the stuff you're working on is, I mean, talk about that, because I don't think a lot of people really understand the magnitude of of your dream, that I live with. And
yeah, it's not a dream per se, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, yes. Look, I've accomplished a few things over the years. Yes, for sure. I've hit certain things that I can look back prior to that thing happening, being like, if I can make this happen, if I can get to this. But I was always like, I was very much like, I'm getting there, and I would be focused on it, and I would figure out how to get there, properly in a good way, and all that stuff. And yeah, I could look at some of those things and be like, that's making it, like that was, there's definitely certain things. I mean, when I got my, US Davis Cup team sweatsuit, which was only for team members, like that was a huge deal. Like that was like you couldn't buy them. Like now I think they sell them and whatever. Like there was no buying them. Like you earned it. And I wasn't a player on the team, but I was on the team. I was one of the support people on the team. And it was a big deal, like to wear the t-shirt in the box and have the sweatsuit. It was a big deal in that world. I mean, in the grand scheme of life, BFD. But it was very, very cool. And it was like something I really, really wanted to happen. And actually that all started from that player who I'm not mentioning right now. Fuck it. It's Jim Courier. But he
I don't know why he was
wanted me
anonymous.
He wanted me to come to a Davis Cup match in Mexico. Like I wasn't on the team. They didn't bring people on. They brought the trainer coach. A racket person was just, they didn't bring anybody. They didn't think it was important. Jim was like, called me up. He's like, can you come to Mexico? And I was like, when? And he was like, now. And I was like, what do you mean now? He's like, I can't play the match. I can't, you have to come down here. Like you have to come down here. Can you come? And I said, yes. I was like, he's like, I'll take care of everything. We're going to take care of everything. I just want to make sure you could do it. I'm going to set everything up. They're going to call you and you got to get here. Like just start packing. Like they're going to get you on the first flight that we can get you down here. And I went down there and he won. And we went on to the next round and then they started bringing us. But even then I was like an outsider. I didn't get the tracksuit for like another year or so. Like I was there, but I wasn't there. When it was finally like, yeah, you're in now. Like you're in. It's a big deal, and Fisher Racket Service US Open, working with Andre, these are great milestones, and they were great. And, and some people said you made it, but I didn't ever look at it like that. Like kind of like you, like I was I wanted to do more. I always felt like there was more to do. And yeah, I mean, as I've evolved, I mean, what my goals are different for sure. Um, and it's about helping people and making the world a better place. And if there's a way, there's certain things that I just can't do. I'm not going to come up with a cure for cancer. Like, I'm not going to solve. I mean, who knows? Maybe I will somehow magically figure out, not the cancer part, but there may be some little thing that I may figure out just randomly that has nothing to do with it. These things happen by accident, right? Like, I may knock something over that may figure out how to solve some other crazy disease. Of course, it's possible. It's not likely. I mean, it's just not likely, but it's possible. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen in the universe, but I can do certain things, and I can listen to people, and I can understand and help people achieve their goals, and I can connect people, and I can see things that a lot of people don't see. And if I can bring those skills together to make the world a better place, so that maybe a story can be told that can inspire the person who will come up with a cure for cancer or world peace or hunger or whatever, I mean, yes, that's amazing. It's not me doing it, but it's me, kind of guiding the ship so that it doesn't tip over, and so that's, launching that, building that into something to be out in the universe. Yes, that's something that I'm going to achieve for sure, and we all as a group are going to get there. But I can guarantee you I won't look at that and say I made it. Like, when I do that,
That's what I was curious about,
I'll be like, that's cool. Like, that's
when Village is a thing, and anyone who's making a film is using Village, like, what is that feeling going to be like for you?
Tremendous. But I'm not going to be like cocky
I made it
about it. I'm not going to be like, I made it. Like, I'm going to be able to say, this was a vision that I had somehow floating in my head over and over and over again, and I accomplished that. I'll say that. I'll be like, yeah, I did that. I did accomplish that. But back to the making it thing. Look, if I'm right, which I think I am, there's going to be a lot of success that will happen because of Village. Like, that's just a fact. Like, there will be a lot of people that will achieve their dreams, that will make very successful projects, film, TV, all sorts of other entertainment projects. They will get all those accolades. We will have had a piece to do with all of that. And that's amazing. That's amazing. And it'll be incredibly gratifying. But I'm not going to walk around being like, I made it. Or I'm not going to walk around and be like, yeah, we did that. Like, that's not going to happen.
You'll probably be on to another idea that you have that is going to help other people. Guarantee it.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. I'm not sure about that. I'm not so sure about that. You've heard a number of my conversations. Like, I always say, I'm meant to do this. This is my purpose. Like, I have to do this. And I don't mean that in a bad way, like a chore. Like,
no, I know.
I have, this is what I'm meant to do. So that doesn't mean that I won't help some other thing. It doesn't mean that I may not have another good idea that could and should go out into the universe. But I don't know that I'm going to feel like I'm supposed to do that. Like, it may be like, I have an idea, and that person, I'm going to give it to them because they're more meant to do this. I could see me, because I think part of the thing with Village is that it as simple as it is to me, like so simple, it's so small to me, even though it's enormous, is that it keeps growing, right? So there's other ways to do what Village is doing. We're doing it initially with film and TV and other forms of entertainment, but there's a lot. What grows from that is it just keeps going and going and going and going. So,
well, that is what I mean by that, honestly.
Yeah. But it's different because when people are like, oh, well, well, what are you going to do next? Or like, what if it doesn't work out? Like, there isn't like, what if it doesn't work out? There's just, there isn't.
It's like the funniest. That is like if someone said to me, what if your art doesn't work out? Like I would laugh in their face. Like that's so ridiculous.
Right. But when you hear of it and you go and you read any sort of business magazine or tech magazine or fashion magazine, they're like, well, they started doing this and then they pivoted into this and then they did this and then they pivoted into that. And then, they'd had this great success. They sold it and now they're doing this. Like, good for them. Like, that's great. That's amazing. And look, there's definitely been many times in my life that I have thought, and I've been on this journey where I've just kind of done things and helped a lot of different people in different parts of my
Which
existence.
Is, you're always doing that. Like you're always helping like 5 other groups while you're trying to do this enormous thing.
And I've often felt like, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm not supposed to be the one with the idea. Maybe I'm supposed to be the one who just kind of does all that stuff. Like that's my thing. And I see that as like, I don't see that as my thing as much as like, I'm just going to do that. Like, of course I'm going to do that. If somebody comes to me with something, I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing. Who do I know that can help them? And I'm going to make a connection and it's congratulations. Go get to work. Like, you guys go do this. Like,
I mean, I think you're just responding to life. You're responding to the things that come at you with your purest response. And
sure.
that to me is truly living. Like people who are just like, they hear a good idea and they're like, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Or maybe I'll do that. And they never do shit. And then there are other people who, meet someone, an idea is presented or a problem is presented, and you have the ability to help. Maybe it's not a lot, or maybe it is a lot. And that's kind of how you are. If you believe in something and someone comes to you with a problem, I see you helping people nonstop because
why not?
That's just,
how can you
because
not?
That's how you live your life. You live your life by responding to life and what comes at you. And I think that's amazing.
And I appreciate that. But like, if you think about this as like, okay, I'm using necessarily my brain or my connection to do that. If you take, and I've done this, like you take things like that are like theoretical and then you put them into real practice. Like my father used to say, like, what does that mean in practical terms? Like, you take that, for example, right? Like someone has a problem and they come to me and I'm like, okay, let me see how I can help them. And I make a connection or make an introduction or I spend time and I give them some advice. Imagine if you're walking down the street and somebody falls down. What are you going to do? Walk over them? You're going to pick them up. I'm going to pick them. I mean, depending on how big they are. But, I'm going to try to do something. So it's the same to me. It's the same.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is there are a lot of people who would walk past that person.
Good for them.
There are a lot of people who have the ability to do something small. It could be to make an introduction.
All have the ability to do something small.
But I'm telling you, there are a lot of people who just don't take that opportunity to do that.
You know what?
There are people who do, and there are people who don't.
Look, if we can maybe inspire 1 or 2 more people to do that, great.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I hope anybody falls today, but if somebody falls, go pick them up. If you can open the door for somebody, like, well, look, I've been in this.
Lend them a hand.
Tell me I'm in the impact space. I'm not really in the impact space, but I am in the impact space. And people talk about that, and I'm like, what the fuck is impact? Like, everybody can have an impact. You can smile at somebody and make their day. You can open the door. You can, you can do things. We can all do something, and that can have an incredible impact on someone's life. You have no idea what their trajectory could be after you do that one little thing. So I would encourage everybody to do that. And to me, if you do that every day, you know what? You made it.
Yeah. Recently I had a friend purchase 4 paintings to be on public display in the GoggleWorks. A very successful, powerful woman. And I had the lovely experience of having this woman, Sandy Salmon, lend me an artist a hand up. She directed the people at the GoggleWorks to put a plaque up next to the paintings with a picture. This is all her idea. Put a picture, my bio, and a QR code. And she looked at me and she said, to help promote you as an artist. And I got to tell you,
Lovely.
that
Lovely.
was an example of how you help another person trying to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So clap for you. That was really amazing, Sandy.
Yeah.
And more women should be doing that. And let me tell you, any chance I get to help another woman or guy, I'm doing it. And I know you are, you know, so.
Yeah. So
sometimes we make it with the help of other people.
But that's,
you
I
know?
think that's that, you know, and I think we can wrap on that. Like that, I think that to us is making it, right? Like it's not about accolades or anything else. And I think we can all do that. And hopefully these little stories were helpful to you guys. And we really appreciate you tuning in. And until next time, hope that you do well and hope you guys have a great week. And we'll see you next time on Pickles and Pasta with Steph and Jay.
Have some fun today.